Hello again. Um, I was given some sage advice that I feel like I must listen to. Um, when you find yourself in an abusive relationship, okay, because we're all roundly told that you're not going to change them. I had never wanted to change anybody, to be honest with you. I didn't go into a relationship in November of 2019, uh, with the intent on changing anybody. I didn't think that I needed to grow. I thought I had survived the worst that can be done. I mean, I survived full thickness burns to 37% of my body, including most of my left leg and genitals. Now, if you can survive that, I think you're entitled to something of a break of some kind. But for me, it was more like out of the frying pan and into the fire. Um, because what I was put through for 4 years was pure hell. And I tried leaving it and had left it in the middle of it. I left it behind only to be called back. Despite putting charges on me, I'm very confident that this person will be calling me back again. Uh, there's no doubt in my mind. Matter of fact, as the days grow on, days become years, I know that I'm always there in the back of her mind. I would give anything to change that. I don't want to be in the back of anybody's mind. I don't want to be in the front of anybody's mind either. But yeah, no, I don't want to be on her mind anymore. I really don't. I gave this woman everything I had to give to another person. Um, I didn't just give 100%. I gave more like 150% because I even created a new version of myself just to be able to live with her and put up with her idiosyncrasies that most people wouldn't be able to tolerate. Um, I wasn't stupid. I lived with it before. A woman being unfaithful, sneaky. They always end up doing things that give away who and what they are. They're extremely insecure. That's the first tip off. That's how you know. It's a good sign. Both of the women that I dated them back to back, unfortunately for me. But both of the women that I dated that were uh, made for the streets and not for my sheets, they they like to portray a certain type of exterior. Maybe the first one's more, she's more kind of blatant about it, which was kind of cool. I like that. I respected her a lot more than I did the second one. The second one, all the respect was on the front end because I actually bought the initial presentation, um, but this person, it wasn't even 4 weeks in, and I began to see things, and even told her that we could have a relationship where just her side of the relationship would be open. We could have, heterosexual threesomes. Um, for some reason, this person just did not want to let me in on that side of their life. I don't know why. Never figured that out. Um, this person came across as like a goody two shoes type. Like, would not even wear a bathing suit in her own pool. Um, yeah, I took one photo of her in 4 years where she was not wearing a top. And she actually brought this up in the court document saying that I took her picture without permission, which I don't know if she realizes how insane that makes her look. But it's either she's like a super duper control freak, or she never cared about me to begin with, and I was always a mark. Like, never once, not once in 4 years, did she ever send me a nude picture of herself. Now she asked for me to send her nudes, and on the occasion, there's two, maybe three occasions total where I gave in and thought, well, I guess it will help the situation. Let's see. I shouldn't have done it. I feel really stupid. Now I know how most women feel when they're in this position. And I guess, it's been a man's world for a long time, so who gives a shit about a man ending up being the one that's abused, especially by the system? I mean, the problem with that is that I'm not Harvey Weinstein. The Me Too movement should check itself at the door when it comes to dealing with me. I was a very good man to this woman. In 4 years, this woman never opened her own car door. She never opened any door, had to, in front of me. I set an example to her boys. I took shit off her boys. Her boys became my sons. I loved them deeply because they had come from her. And I loved her deeply. And it was real. The only problem with that is that she didn't know what love was. Now she really doesn't know because she chose to surrender. See, I had it put to me like the best way possible by somebody that knows the situation. They told me, said, the types of people that sit around and go, "Oh yeah, look at you, you're pussy whipped." The people that sit around and say shit like that. First of all, I don't have any friends that would ever say anything like that to anyone. I never have, not even in college. Um, The kinds of friends that would say that are really just rotten to their core. There's no good in them at all. They don't. I mean, teasing's one thing, but actually jeering someone about it—that's a true sign of. That's a true sign of someone who doesn't believe in family or community. Because you don't make fun of love, not when it's real. You be happy for somebody when they find it, not dividing. If you're dividing, you're trash. You know it. You know you are. The only reason why anyone would ever say that to someone else and make them feel guilty about having a relationship based upon love is because they can't have it for themselves. And thus they keep the whole thing spinning around. Every single person that ever watches this knows I'm speaking the truth right now about that. If you literally tease someone because they have found love, teasing is one thing, but if you're outright making fun of them and making them feel bad for it, you're the loser. Big time. Big time. Life's hard enough without dealing with people like you. And you really should do the world a favor. You've got mental health issues if you want to make someone feel bad about finding love. That is to say, if you do that, if you make them feel bad about finding love, and then they push away that love repeatedly, and you cheer them on doing that, and then you put them up to giving in to their emotions over jealousy and filing charges against the person that was in love with them because that person's choosing to move on with their life, and you put them up to it, and you call the police and have the police come by the house. If you do something like that, you're not just a world-class piece of shit. You're a demon. You're literally doing the devil's work. You're propagating evil, actual evil acts on the earth. You're actually contributing to it, condoning it. That's an overt act that you're contributing to. Like murder or war. That's an overt act that's seen and witnessed by many. You better hope you haven't done anything like that. I know I never have. I sleep well at night knowing I never have done anything like that. But I digress. Back to my original point. When you figure out that a person is just not there, that they have given themselves away, they've diluted their soul to the point to where their literal value on earth is negligible at best. At worst, they're pretty much the textbook definition of an NPC now, because they called you up one day, the morning after they decided to sell their soul, and said they don't believe in family anymore. At that point, they had lost their soul. They had gone against their own moral value, their own moral code. And the tears they shed before that moment on phone calls they had with you before that date, they were crying for their own funeral. And that was the point at which it should have been recognized what was happening, because they are truly lost and they're never coming back. And for you to ever give in to these people ever again, to ever allow them another minute in your life, you're enabling them. You're an enabler. Some people would call this tough love. It's not even tough love. It's still love. But like Decker said in Blade Runner, the second movie, sometimes you have to become a stranger to love someone. I've known now 2 women in my life that I loved that completely. Completely. Gave them 110% effort. To which they attacked me and still attack me to this day and are looking to end my freedom just because they are angry at their own selves for the choices they've made. They cannot live with the fact that I'm out there walking around living a life. I must die or I must pay. But either way, they feel they are owed something for their betrayal. They betrayed me, therefore I owed them. This is how they think. It sounds ludicrous, but they really and truly are not accountable in any way, shape, or form for any of their actions and what they've done. They will not be held accountable. How dare you? What gives you the right to hold them accountable? No, this is what courts of law are for, and lying under oath. Both of these women, I have now seen with my own eyes, they lie under oath. Both of them. And unfortunately for both of them, I've had nothing but time to gather evidence. And before in the past, I've always done this and I've ran my mouth about it. This time I'm not going to. This time I'm going to be silent until I can be silent no more. And at that moment, at that crucial juncture, I will turn over what I have. And I will show exactly what they've done. I won't just do this to lawyers. I won't just do this to, counselors or, psychologists. I'm going to do this before the world. I'm going to show what they initially said under oath. And I'm going to show what they did in real life. I'm not interested in war. I'm not interested in continuing hurt and pain. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want anyone to be exposed. I want to be left alone. I want peace. I want peace. But if they won't listen, if they won't stop, and they keep pushing me, I am left with no choice. I'm going to have to show the world who they really are and what they've really done. They can stick together as friends because they have teamed up together, these two. It's blatantly obvious what they did. They are very much birds of a feather. I've heard they've gotten in an argument and now are no longer friends to some degree, but I suspect they'll link back up again. Same type of energy, same type of person. Seems like. I was actually shocked to find that out because the second one, I thought there was no way that she would lower herself to the. It's just not possible. There's not even the realm of possibilities that the second person could have turned out like the first person, but I just went through the devastating experience of realizing it's not that she was as bad as the first person, it's that she's much more diabolical and much worse than the first person because she's willing to go to any length. She doesn't care. She absolutely does not care. And she'll let anyone that will co-sign her behavior and say, oh yeah, that's a great idea, you should totally do that, even if they're being sarcastic. She's not smart enough to realize they're being sarcastic. She actually goes out and does it. And then they really laugh at her. She really screws up her life because she's that gullible. What do you mean? Why are you laughing so hard? You said it was a really good idea. I was joking. You went and did it. That's hilarious. You just totally destroyed your life. And then she's left feeling dumb. Which, because she sold her soul, she is now dumb. She is uneducated. She can present herself as someone of education, but really now, more than any other time in her life, she's coming across to people that actually know her like an 8th grader. 6th grade reading level, max. Whereas before, when we were together, she was studying physics. I'm not shitting you. She was that smart. But something happens when you choose to throw your life away and drink all day and have to keep, your memory fuzzy all the time. You kill brain cells. You lose the intelligence that you've gathered. And then you drink yourself toward becoming, at first I think a hammer-headed shark has the smallest brain of all the sharks. So at first, hammer-headed shark is what this one became. And then I think she devolved even more into Princess Jellyfish. A spineless, heartless creature that does nothing but inflict pain. Serves no purpose but to inflict pain. Beautiful to look at, as jellyfish are. Kill you they will, if they get their tentacles wrapped around you. That's what she does. So the only way to snap her out of this is for me to, instead of being the blessing that I was meant to be for her, the blessing that she looked up toward the heavens and called upon to be created for her, the same day I caught fire. We both looked up at the sky that day. We both talked to the universe, the creator, God. We both said, please bring our person to us. She needed a little bit more financial help than what I was going to be able to provide at that time. And I wouldn't have been home. I'd have been over the road. But what happened was that fate stepped in the way. And I, later that night, was blown up. And after a year of recovering, I returned literally to the same coffee shop that I got in coffee at that very morning. She and I both prayed to the heavens. We were 2 miles away from each other that morning, a year earlier, before I got blown up. 1 year later, we got lost in talking to each other for 45 minutes while trying to get a cup of coffee at the same coffee shop. You don't have experiences like that more than once in a lifetime. They don't happen. That doesn't just happen. You never find it again once you've had it. I know what that connection was. I know what I've lost. But it wasn't me that lost it. She could not get past the trauma that she experienced as a child. She couldn't give it up. She couldn't say no to temptation. Instead, she gave in to it. She gave in to evil. Then slowly but surely, she kept picking at it and picking at it until she lost her blessing. And that's how I went from being the blessing for her life to becoming the lesson. And that is the story of how I came to find myself without a purpose before Melissa Nelson came along and gave me one. I had a purpose before that. When I was in the burn unit, I saw Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown in the Laos episode. And I said to myself, if I get out of this burn unit, if I survive it, most people die at 40% full thickness burns. I was at 37. If I survive it and I get out of here, I want to help kids. Because no kid should face a burn unit. It's the most savage, horrific experience you could ever have. It's torture. God bless the nurses that have to work it, because they have to torture people. They have to, in order to save their lives. No child should experience that. And yet, because of unexploded ordnance around the world left behind from our great many proxy wars with Russia and the US, so on and so forth. If we can help prevent this from happening to children around the world, we should do that. Me getting any kind of money for being blown up by an Asian product like Samsung, maybe the smart thing to do is to go over to some part of Asia and use it to clean up what I know is there. You know, just like they knew the batteries could fail and I could get blown up and die. I know there's a lot of ordnance left behind after Vietnam. How can I live with myself if I didn't try? That's what the money's for. I bought a Lamborghini. I will not apologize for that. This was a personal war. And that's a fairly cheap reward for what I had to endure. Outside of that, I would just maintain. At any rate, if I can get $144 million out of the city of Jacksonville and Melissa Nelson for stepping into a huge pile of shit when it comes to taking the side of a narcissist, an abusive, toxic narcissist, toxic to the core, and do so and show the world that abuse can happen to either sex, man or woman, it does not matter. And a government body, a judicial body, can be made to be bent to the use of a monster that doesn't know when to quit or when to stop once she sold her soul. And this is all extremely unfortunate for me to have to go through one battle in fighting for my life and give up my sons for 6 years, only to turn around at the very end of that and have to battle someone who swore they were going to be beside me to help me get back the time that I would have with my kids if I would just give myself over to spending time with her children and grandchildren and let them fill in the hole in my heart that was left by my own children. That was safe to do, only to rip the rug right from under my feet every single stinking time. She just had to run off and go screw and do drugs because she couldn't do it in front of me, because she didn't know how to face me with that. Now you'll know what the book is about. January 17th, 9 a.m. on Kindle, Amazon. Straight to Kindle release. Broken Halo. Or how I lost, for the last time, my twin flame. Going from a blessing to a lesson. It's a cautionary tale.